Hello and welcome back to the second step in my organic sequencer, which is sample presets. Now with plugins these days and devices, it's almost expected that there's going to be some presets for the user to use straight away. If there are no presets, it doesn't really feel like effort has been put in. You want the user to be able to just click on object A and they can use object A and manipulate it, whatever that object could be. I've implemented 6 different presets, which are, when I'm saying presets, they're audio samples, ready for a user to click and use straight away, and then they could drag in their own audio. Now, before I go on, I've got 2 examples that I tried to use here, which didn't work, but this was before I realized this button here, which is containing project, and it's also before I realized about the freeze option. I knew about the freeze, but I didn't realize the freeze would really encapsulate all audio used. So these 2 objects may have worked if I'd known about these 2 options in the first place, but that's research, isn't it? It's trial and error. So the first object I tried to use was buffer with a little tilde. Now these work somewhat independently. We have a buffer here that can store information, it can store audio, and that's played by the play tilde object here. Now where it says play me, that's just a name, a placeholder. So this buffer here is going to be played by this one. When that's initiated, it says play me, and that's that buffer just there. You can replace files, you can open the files, and you can read the files as well. Actually, with one of these here, I can't remember what that's called, a waveform. That makes sense. You can see set play me. So really, I should bring this up here. You would load in your audio and you'd probably make a bang happen once audio is loaded, initiating this message, and you'd get the waveform. Again, it's a nice visual aspect for the user to see the waveform and see those transients being triggered. So once you start it with the start message, you could attach a nice button for the UI. You'd click that and you've got some settings here like loop. And then the live gain, of course, and then that would actually be here and go into the organic sequencer. It was a bit clunky, this method of trying to make a preset and trying to make a preset with the preset object here. As you can see, I've got 6 loaded in there. So at the present time when I was experimenting with this one, it didn't work for me, unfortunately. And importantly, I found you would need 1 buffer per sample. So that's just 1 instance. I would need another 5 of those, so it would get quite messy quite quickly. So I quickly dismissed that idea, moved on to another one, of which is SF Play with a tilde. I chose this because it's got this nice play bar, and then of course I linked to another waveform display here. Let's open that up. A live scope. I've utilized those a couple times here. Really nice visual display of seeing that waveform. I just like the play bar. I think I prioritize more of the user interface with this one. Again, saving the max patch, reopening it, the files would just run away to the next town. So again, I quickly dismissed that idea. It was time to kind of make snap decisions. If something wasn't working as quick as I wanted, move on to the next. Maybe just rinse and repeat until I find something that worked. Of which I did, and it was all down to this setup that we have here. This object here, preset, like a tin of Ronseal, it does what it says on the tin. It's there for presets. The way that works is you need to attach these different messages, store, and then a number. And what happens is when you create your preset, for myself, I'm working with this playlist object here. You would load up sample 1, you click store 1. You would load up sample 2, store 2, so on and so forth, and that stores the presets ready. So when you click, let's say little stint call, it's going to load that there and jump to here. If I go sample 3, bang, that's going to load up sample 3. Now something I should mention is, I think it was the buffer method I was trying. For this to work, you need to send a 1, a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You need to send a numerical number. I was having trouble doing that with other methods, because if you wanted to initiate that playlist or that setting, that would come out as a 0. So the first sample or the first preset could never be filled up, and that just looks really annoying for myself. So these buttons are actually triggering the preset number. So these numbers here, if I click that, that will also do the same thing. And then attach these buttons which are on the user interface for the user. And that's how I got around implementing my sample presets. Again, after a bit more research, the Containing project, this was the biggest leap in the stage. I'm not going to change anything now because it's working. I don't want to ruin it. But what I would do is I copied my Max Patch onto my desktop. I'm working from this separately from Ableton, because the first instance of this folder was embedded into Ableton's file directory. So I took that away, and on my desktop I've got a folder with the Max Patch and the samples. And those samples, you click and drag them in here. You're kind of dedicating these samples to this Max Patch. Again, once you've finished this, when I sent this off for testing, you would click freeze and then save it, so everything is consolidated. And that is my sample presets.